Chris Scalzi here with
Matt Howell.
And on this episode of The First Run, Matt and I are going to discuss, well, it's all about the kids this weekend, folks. It's going to be two films focused on toys. One of them is Toy Story 4. We thought, Matt, that the end of the Toy Story franchise was part 3. It was kind of a perfect ending. Everything kind of came full circle. And yet here we are with part 4. And then it's going to be the reboot of the Child's Play franchise. Chucky is all new, all different. But yet, the old Chucky is still rolling along. We'll get into all of that. And then finally, it's going to be probably the hardest to pronounce top 5 we've ever done. And Matt, that's going to be our top 5 anthropomorphic characters. Ooh, did I do it? Did I get it? Nice. So let's start everything off with a clip from Toy Story Quattro, because I am hip.
Trash? No, toys. They're all toys.
Trash.
No, that's the trash. These are your friends.
Hello. Trash.
Shh, no, it's okay.
Trash.
Woody, I have a question. Well, actually, not just one. I have all of them. I have all the questions.
Why does he want to go to the trash?
Because he was made from trash. Look, I know this is a little strange, but you gotta trust me on this. Forky is the most important toy to Bonnie right now.
Matt, Toy Story 4 is here. We get the introduction of Forky. We get Gabby, right? We get the return, not that she was really gone, of Bo Peep. We'll get into that. And then, of course, there is Duke Kaboom. Matt, let me ask you. Is Toy Story 4 an all-time great end chapter? No. That is wrong, because I have misread my own question. With an all-time great ender with Toy Story 3, does Part 4 elevate the franchise, or does it drag it down and feel like kind of almost a cheap cash grab?
Well, I think cheap cash grab is too cynical, but I don't think it actually elevates the material. I agree with you. I think Toy Story 3 was the perfect ending. But this is still good. It's still, Pixar is hard pressed to make an unwatchable film, and even their weakest entries are still relatively entertaining. I think this is probably middle of the road Pixar. But really what this gives you, this is kind of like the coda to Woody's story. This is all about Woody, really. And basically everybody else, whether that be the kid, Bonnie, or any of the other toys, even Buzz, kind of take a back seat. And this is really kind of like Woody kind of his coda, if you will.
I think that's fair. I got to tell you, though, I felt this was a little bit better than just mid-grade Pixar. I rather enjoyed this. I walked out of this thing. I was trying to think, has there been a more consistent franchise, especially when you get to a 4th film? I think each one of these things has been a home run. And I think one of the interesting things about this film is that it really dials up kind of the sinister, right, in this latest installment. And it works. It really does. It's not too far. It's not too much. But there's a nice kind of dark quality to it that I actually kind of enjoyed. And then they really elevate Bo Peep in this film. And I think it's one of the smartest moves because she proves to be probably the most engaging character in the film for me. I think Forky is a lot of fun. And I think I think a lot of people will identify with Forky, particularly when he just considers himself trash all the time. But still, I found Bo Peep kind of just the driving force of this film. She is what's the word? I don't want to say living, but she's the allegory for the entire narrative about kind of moving on and being independent, and things are going to work out fine. Even if you're a little scared, take that step. It's all right. And I really thought this was fantastic. And I think this may be even to the height of Pixar's animation for me. Matt, this thing was just gorgeous to look at. And it's the cleanest, the sleekest, I was really just blown away by it.
Yeah, I guess, every film that Pixar puts out is the best of their animation. I mean, that's just the nature of them progressing the technology. So the next one that comes out is going to be even better somehow. But I guess maybe it is fair to say it's not mid-tier Pixar, because I'm really comparing this to the other three, and I don't think necessarily it's as strong as the other three. And I'm not saying that I didn't like it, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. I thought it was very entertaining. I guess it's just that, like I said, it's like I think that the Toy Story 3 piece of it was such a good ending that I don't know this was completely necessary, but I enjoyed it nonetheless.
I think that's fair. It's just that I don't want people to go into this thing kind of feeling like it's a tack-on thing. I don't think it is. I mean, it is, as you said, I think a good coda for Woody's story, but this is not a like Cars 4 type of thing, right? It's much.
It's
more,
not planes. It's not planes.
No, and it is, and I really think it's up there with the rest of the Toy Story films. This is not a redheaded stepchild film. This holds its own, and it's exceptionally entertaining. It's sweet. It's touching, and like I said, it has that kind of darkness to it that I think just really,
you have so much glee for. Like I do. I'm kind of disturbed by you now. Having darkness in a kids' film is like really made you happy.
It's the ventriloquist dummies.
Yeah,
and the whole, and then Gabby's kind of her whole plot, her through line in the beginning is really scary if you think about it. I mean, kids don't get through that deeper level, but when you're an adult watching this, you really see what's going on, and I'm like, man, that's some dark ass right there. And I really enjoyed Keanu, who is, I'm trying to figure out what it is, but he is. I don't want to say he's having a renaissance, but he has been this past year has really elevated in the cultural consciousness to become this real. Just I can't describe it. I don't know if it's. I read one thing on Twitter which I thought was interesting and get your opinion on. It's that he's escaped the '90s unharmed, right? Where he's always a good guy. If you see him do the stuff like when he takes pictures with women and stuff, he's always has the hover arms, right? I mean, it's there's no horrible.
You make fun of the hover arms.
There's no horrible stories about him, So and he just genuinely seems to be a good guy. And I don't know. What do you think? What is it about the Keanu-sance or whatever?
So there was kind of like he had been kind of tongue-in-cheek memed about, there was this kind of undercurrent, especially on Reddit, of people who just kind of worshipped him. But I mean, and part of it was just the kind of the ridiculousness of worshiping Keanu Reeves, but he actually is a good guy. Like, I mean, he, the whole thing about how he donates quite a bit of his money to charities, that he takes every opportunity he can to interact with his fans, that he's just relatively a decent human being. And, that kind of, I think really what that was kind of always bubbling under the surface. And I think really now, just in like the latest roles that he's had, it's like people have just kind of grabbed that piece of internet ephemera and are running with it right now. And even when this is over, I still think he's going to have a hardcore set of fans. So, he's good for Keanu.
Yeah, I think things had kind of dipped after the whole Matrix trilogy, but I think what would you think the beginning would it be Wick? Would that? I think it was
John Wick that really kind of launched him back into the conversation as far as acting roles go.
Yeah, and we'll have to see Bill and Ted 3. I mean, is a go. So I'm kind of curious. I can't wait to see how that turns out. All right, Matt. Any final thoughts on Toy Story 4? Where would you rank it in the series? In the Toy Story series, I would probably rank it 4th. Yeah,
maybe 3rd. It's been a long time since I've seen the first Toy Story, but I would say 4th for right now. As far as where in the Pixar canon, I don't know. I'd actually have to go back and look at what's all in the Pixar canon because it's really long at this point.
Yeah, I agree. There's too many to kind of get through, and I haven't seen any of the what would you call them, the commercial entries, which would be the cars, the planes,
right.
All those films. And I feel that with Pixar too, I think everything is like 1A, 1B, and 1C for me. All right, maybe maybe 4 is a lesser cousin to all of them, but again, it's real tight. So much so, in fact, Matt, that I'm giving Toy Story 4 an A. What about you?
Yeah, I'm not giving it an A. I'm gonna give it a B+.
That's way too low. I would accept an A-, but I'm not comfortable.
I knew that's what you would want me to say. But I went with my heart. I went with my gut.
Well, let's never do that again. If you've had a chance to see Toy Story 4, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Next up, coming up on Blu-ray and DVD this upcoming Tuesday, that is January 2nd-ish or so. Well, if you loved Green Book, we may have this movie for you.
CP. CP. This display you want to bring, we're willing to go along with it, but there'll be folks not wild about the sight of it, so you're going to need to provide some security. Someone to watch over it. I'm not going to be responsible for it.
This is my security.
That gun don't belong here.
I like to have it close in case I need to do my talking for me.
This here does the talking for me.
I have a Bible.
Oh, you do? Have you read it?
Of course I read it. And we go to church on Sundays.
Well, then you ought to know, CP.
No, what?
Same God made you, made me.
So there's a clip from Best of Enemies. It's the story of the civil rights activist Ann Atwater. She faces off against C.P. Ellis, who's an exalted cyclops of the KKK in 1971 Durham, North Carolina, over school integration.
Is Cyclops an actual title in the KKK, or is that something that you're making up?
No, that's a thing. Unless the film made it up, but I believe it's supposed to be.
I've heard of Grand Wizard, but I didn't know that Exalted Cyclops was an actual rank. Thank you. Continue.
You're
I'm
welcome.
sorry.
This, of course, stars Taraji Henson and Sam Rockwell. I think this is one of those, it felt kind of Oscar baity to me. Yeah, Robert Byrd was an Exalted Cyclops. So, there you go. Includes 3 making of featurettes. Emilio Estevez wrote and directed and has a role in the film The Public. Also features Jenna Malone, Gabrielle Union, Alec Baldwin, Kristen Slater, and Taylor Schilling. Its story revolves around the library patrons, many of whom are homeless, mentally ill, and marginalized, as well as an exhausted and overwhelmed staff of librarians who often build emotional connections and a sense of obligation to care for those regular patrons. Escape Plan, The Extractors. So Stallone just keeps churning out. You know, he had the what was the one? With all the 80s action stars. That's not Intouchables popped in my head, but
The Expendables.
Thank you.
Yes.
So he has the Escape
Which
Plan.
you were super excited about when it first came out.
Well, when they first talked about it, yeah, I was like, all right. Especially, when Arnold was in. He wasn't in the first one, right? He didn't pop in until the second one.
No.
But yeah, I was really excited for that. Man, those are bad. Not even good bad. Just bad. Well, The Extractors with Stallone, David Bautista, who lives in Tampa. Hey, Dave. Curtis Jackson, Jamie King, and Devin Sawa. The film continues as after security expert Ray Breslin is hired to rescue the kidnapped daughter of a Hong Kong tech mogul from a formidable that's Dr. Doom. Latvian prison. Breslin's girlfriend is also captured. Now he and his team must pull off a deadly rescue mission to confront their sadistic foe and save the hostages before time runs out. I haven't seen the second one yet, so I don't know if I have to watch that one before this one. The horror film We Have Always Lived in the Castle, which is supposed to be pretty good, is being released. Maricat and Constant Blackwood live with their Uncle Julian in a stately manner. They are ostracized by the local villagers who feel the Blackwoods are a blight on the community. The 3 are the only survivors of an arsenic poisoning. I should read these more often, or at least ahead of time. That killed everyone else in the family 5 years prior. Now Constant remains in the house, afraid to face the outside world and the persecution she suffered as a suspect of murder. This is part murder mystery, part haunted house. It's an adaptation of the classic 1962 novel by Shirley Jackson. I've heard this is supposed to be quite good. Alexandria Daddario stars in it. And hopefully maybe we can catch up with it. New to Blu-ray, Shout Factory is releasing FM. The airwaves crackle with a delectable sound of smooth rock in FM, a riotous comedy about the heady world of late 70s U.S. radio. Includes a new high-definition Blu-ray transfer and uncompressed stereo 2.0 audio soundtrack, the original mono-aural soundtrack, and some other new making of featurettes. Vinegar Syndrome, as usual, drops 4 films at a time. They are giving us Putney Swoop with a new 4K restoration. Same for Taking Tiger Mountain, The Passing, and then finally Night Owl. The final two films, I should say, getting 2K restorations from the original 16mm archival of elements and or camera negatives. Audio commentaries, making of featurettes, interviews as well. Special features abound for these films. So if you're a fan of any of them, Vinegar Syndrome is doing you right. Your straight to DVD pick of the week, Matt, though, I'm going with Nightmare Shark. Survivors of previous shark attacks are hunted by a supernatural shark in their dreams. So it's basically like Freddy Krueger, but it's a shark, I guess.
All right.
What should we be streaming this week?
All right. Well, finally available for streaming is the best superhero film from 2018, and that is Sony's Into the Spider-Verse. It is available on Netflix. It is a animated adventure where basically you get different versions of the Spider-Man character all coming together across multiple universes to fight the bad guys and try and get home. And it is absolutely fantastic and a delight.
No, it is, yeah. And it may be the best Spider-Man of the last year, maybe even upcoming. We'll have to see. We'll be doing that one soon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of Spider-Man, Matt, why don't we move on and talk a little bit about the Child's Play relaunch. This is very, very different, but will it be as good?
It's all rain outside. I think Chucky did something to her.
Sweetie, Chucky is a toy, okay? It broke, you got rid of it.
Mom, I saw him. I saw him following Doreen.
No, you didn't. Listen to what you're saying.
Mom, he's gonna kill her.
Chucky.
Why aren't you listening to me? I have it on Omar's phone. He's following Doreen. I can show you.
Why do you have Omar's phone?
I took it.
Why?
I had to. I had to follow Chucky, Mom.
Okay.
I'm not crazy, Mom.
Stay right here, okay?
Mom!
And you're coming to work with me.
He's trying to kill us!
All right, so here's the thing, Matt. I was never a huge fan of the Child's Play franchise. Honestly, I never really watched any of them. It just never appealed to me at all. I don't know what it was. So what I did is I started watching all of them. And I'm hoping to do a video on the YouTube channel where I'm going to rank them all and kind of discuss each one. So I am through the Seed of Chucky right now.
Okay.
I just finished that one, so now I have Cult and Curse. And I'm not sure I have the order of those right.
Okay.
And I was very, very wrong. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And you'll have to watch the video when and if I get to it. So what's interesting about this, Matt, is I guess it's United Artists owns the rights to remaking the first film.
Okay.
But Don Mancini, the creator of the original film, owns the rights to like the original run. So he can just keep making Chucky stuff till whenever. In fact, I think they're doing a TV show on Showtime. No, Sci-Fi. I think it's Sci-Fi for 20 episodes already. And that's supposed to start in 2020. Or maybe that's where I got the 20 from. Either way, there's going to be a Don Mancini timeline Chucky show on Sci-Fi beginning next year, which is independent of this film. So, Matt, why don't you tell us what Child's Play 2019 is all about?
Well, that makes a lot more sense. So, essentially, this one is about a young boy who is living with his young single mom. It's kind of the near future where kind of AI has, Internet of Things kind of stuff has kind of spread across, society. And there's this new doll, which is called a Buddy, which is a kind of interactive doll, kind of low-level AI that can interact with all of these different devices that everybody has in their house. In the beginning, the factory worker who was making this particular doll gets fired spectacularly, and he decides to set it to kill, basically. And it gets sold in America, and hijinks ensue.
We should track how many times you said "and hijinks ensue." So what were your thoughts on Child's Play? Is this a worthy reboot? Do you like the direction we went here, or should maybe we have kind of just kept focus on Mancini's run?
So I'll be honest with you. Beyond the first Child's Play, I don't think I've seen any of the other ones. And I never really had a lot of desire to catch up with them. And honestly, I hadn't seen the first one in a really, really long time. But I can tell you, while it's completely different from what I recall, and really this is the only thing that's similar is that there's a redheaded doll named Chucky who goes on a murder rampage. It's completely different. But I will say this. I actually had a lot more fun watching this film than I thought I was going to. And I think this film was a lot more fun than it has any right to be. I enjoyed it. I mean, it was a campy, stupid horror movie, and I am a fan of those. So I had a good time.
Yeah, I'll give it points for trying new things. I'm not 100% I'm not 100% on board maybe with the design of Chucky.
Right.
It's, I don't know if maybe because the original doll is so iconic and maybe I'm kind of pushing against that. But still, it's not 100% on me. I like the idea of going with AI gone wrong, with tech stuff gone wrong. It's especially with everybody having an Alexa in their house, right? It's an interesting statement to make. I don't know if it's smart enough to make the statement it's trying to successfully. I mean, the updates are there and though interesting, I don't know if maybe it's just not cleverly put together enough. I didn't find it especially scary, but it's fun to watch. And I think that Hamill does a fine job. So in case you didn't know, folks, Mark Hamill, your Luke Skywalker or Starkiller, voices Chucky in this film. Now, he's not as maniacal as Doris is, but keep in mind, it's a different Chucky. It's a different character now, right? I think there's enough here for me to elevate it above average, for sure. And I enjoyed it enough. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's fun. I just kind of miss the absurdity of the supernatural elements, which is totally devoid in this film, which is fine. That's not the movie they're making. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, it isn't. And I think I had such low expectations going into this thing that I was pleasantly surprised that I was entertained for the entire 90 minutes or whatever it is while watching it. So I'll take it. I'm going to take that as a win in my book. What
are your thoughts on Hamill, your boy?
He was okay. I think he was definitely, as lame as it sounds, he was definitely much more robotic, whereas the possessed doll version of Chucky is a, completely unhinged psycho, which he was a lot more creepy, I think, in certain ways, but he also had a lot less personality, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I mean, there's no scene in here like that initial scene in the first film when he attacks the mom, right? There's just, when she's like, talk to me, and then he just goes off. There's no pop like that, unfortunately, in this one. But it's effective, and it is relatively well done. It's not performing exceptionally well. So, though they said they'd be open to a sequel, depending on box office performance, I don't know. This reboot may be a one and done. We'll have to see how that shakes out. But overall, though, Matt, what are you giving Child's Play 2019?
I'm going to give it a C+, which is way higher than I thought I would have given it going into this thing.
Yeah, just like I said, I think there's enough here to elevate it above average for me, so I'm actually giving it a B-.
Okay.
I like the thought of the just kind of the ambiguity of AI gone wrong. What's going to happen when something like this, if it does actually occur? Which, that's a singularity, right? When the AI becomes aware, and then we got Skynet issues. So
that's right. Although I would just like to point out, anybody who's listening who is responsible for making robots, let's try not to make them ridiculously stronger than us, like at least physically. I mean, I never understood that,
No, I think that's exactly right. We definitely don't want to do that. In fact, I'm going to write a note about that right here. Do not make... All right, smart. I like where your head's at. If you had a chance to see Child's Play 2019, shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Both films currently playing in the theater right now. That's Toy Story 4 and Child's Play. All right, Matt, why don't we go ahead and keep our anthropomorphic... Damn it! When inanimate objects or stuff are assigned human kind of traits and personalities. Thank you. which are characters? 5 favorite. We're just limping into this now. So here.
Listen, you was really, really something back there. Incredible.
Are you talking to me?
Whoa. Yes, I was talking to you. Can I just tell you that you was really great back there, man? Those guards, they thought they was all of that. Then you showed up and bam, they was tripping over themselves like babes in the woods. See that? That really made me feel good to see that.
Oh, that's great. Really?
Man, it's good to be free.
Now, why don't you go celebrate your freedom with your own friends?
But, I don't have any friends. And I'm not going out there by myself. Hey, wait a minute, I got a great idea. I'll stick with you. You a mean green fighting machine. Together we'll scare the spit out anybody that crosses us. Ah! Oh, ah! That was really scary. And if you don't mind me saying, if that don't work, your breath certainly will get the job done, cause you definitely need some Tic Tacs or something, cause your breath stinks.
Shrek and Donkey. Didn't quite make the list for me, but I think Donkey it would be my favorite of the two of them. I was watching the clip to pull the audio from that, and man, it does not look good. I mean, it looks very computer generated-y.
Right.
Like the toys. I mean, the tech, you can clearly see it. It's a night and day difference from then to now. So, Donkey didn't quite make the cut for me, Matt, for my anthropomorphized characters. So, I'll start everything off, and you can to give you the ultimate number 1. My number 5, and this just got in under the wire. He has not been in a movie, I think, or a cartoon or anything, but was one of my favorite comics when I was younger, just because of the absurdity and satire of it all. And it is Peter Porker, Spider-Ham.
Oh my gosh.
I just something about him being, being bit and becoming a what was it again? He was a pig that was bitten by a... No, it wasn't like that, right? It was something weird where it didn't make a lot of sense. But
right.
That's fine. Peter Porker, Spider-Ham, and all the different animal characters of that universe, Doctor Doom, and just so much fun. So that's why I made him my number 5. And thanks to Into the Spider-Verse, he just makes the cut.
Interesting.
He was born a spider, and he resided in the lab of May Porker, a slightly goofy animal scientist. And see here. After dousing her head with water and activating the dryer, May Porker accidentally irradiates herself. In a fit of delusion, she bites Peter and transfers the swine stuff to the spider. So there you go. That's how it is. This is astounding. Here's a quote. Here's this astounding. I am a spider with the limitations of a pig, or a pig with the proportionate strength and agility of a spider. I've become something greater than either spider or pig. I have become Spider-Ham. And the other thing, too, if you think about it, how terrifying it is to call yourself Ham, which is...
a food.
Yeah. So you're facing the fact that you could be eaten.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. What about Hulk Bunny? You like Hulk Bunny?
Honestly, I was not a big Spider-Ham fan. I honestly don't think I ever read anything with Spider-Ham in it, other than knowing he existed.
Daredevil, Goose Rider, the Fantastic Fur. All right, what do you got?
All right, so my number 5 is, I think, the dirtiest one on this list so far. It's Ted, which is the anthropomorphized living teddy bear, right?
Yep.
That is Mark Wahlberg's best friend. And he's filthy and he's funny. And it's kind of shocking to watch all that kind of stuff when you're not used to your anthropomorphized character saying, F you, Thunder.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Ted's on my honorable mentions for sure. My number 4, though, is a different teddy bear, and that is Paddington.
Okay.
I saw that first film, Matt, and I fell in love. That thing whisked me away to a planet of warmth, happiness, hugs, and kisses. Have you seen Paddington yet?
I have, yeah.
It is fantastic.
I haven't seen the second one. Yeah, it's good.
It is fantastic. So I am desperate to see the second one now. But the Mrs. First Round and I sat down and watched it, and we're just kind of, well, she was a little underwhelmed because to her, it's like, well, it's a talking teddy bear. What's the big deal? But I was just blown away by it, so I had to make Paddington my number 4.
Very good. So my number 4 was groundbreaking for its time. It's Roger Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. The kind of live action, regular traditional animation had never really been done for it. I don't think it's really ever been done as well since, believe it or not. And it was a groundbreaking. It was a funny film, and it sticks with you.
Captain America. He was Captain America, but he was a cat. Okay. My number 3 is Mickey Mouse, specifically in The Sorcerer's Apprentice as part of Fantasia.
Okay.
An all-time classic. But it's Mickey Mouse, He's beloved by millions, if not billions. And an all-time character who probably should be in the public domain. But, that's Disney for you. And there's just something... I just love that part of Fantasia, though I think Night on Bald Mountain may be one of my all-time favorite animated pieces ever. Just the Sorcerer's Apprentice is another. Just my list, Matt, is basically just filled with love. I have Spider-Ham, Paddington, and now Mickey in the Sorcerer's Apprentice. So
there you go.
That's it.
Okay. My number 3 is Emmett from the Lego Movie. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't like your tone, and I don't like the face you just made. I think you're incorrect. I quite enjoyed the Lego Movie, and I think really he holds it all together. That film is not as good if you have just a bunch of Will Arnett Batmans, which we saw.
That's true, but that second film is not as
don't give it the sins of the first. You loved the first. You loved the first one.
Emmett's an honorable mention for me. But he's no number 2.
I mean, he's no. That's number 3.
No, I'm talking to tell you what my number 2 is.
Well, he's no Spider-Ham.
Well, no, for obviously not. He's an honorable mention
obviously
for me.
not, right? Yeah. So that negates your entire argument. Continue.
Now here I'm curious. I think my number 2 works because even though he's a robot, he's got emotions and feelings. So my number 2 is Wall-E. Speaking of Pixar. It's just
I didn't think of that, but that's a good one. I like that.
Wall-E is, I think it's still my favorite Pixar film, and how they're able to, and how the animation, how Wall-E is able to emote without speaking really, and his relationship with Eva. There was a lot of dust in that theater watching that one, Matt, and I absolutely love Wall-E. So much so I haven't watched it in a couple of years, so I think I'm going to have to add it to the list as a revisit. So,
it's a good one.
Wall-E.
All right, so my number 2 is the breakout character from Guardians of the Galaxy. It's Rocket. Made a big splash, has been a big through line through all of the Marvel films since he appeared, which is surprising. And Bradley Cooper has really managed to give some pathos to a foul-mouthed talking raccoon.
No, that's good. He was my number 6. In fact, he was probably my number 5 at one point, and then I remembered Spider-Ham. And my affection for Spider-Ham as a young lad kind of pushed it out. So, my number 1, I don't think there's another answer for this. And if it's not your number 1, I don't know what to do with us.
This is the end of the show? This is the one that does it?
Yeah, it's the Rainbow Connector himself, Kermit the Frog. I don't know what other possible answer you could have. I mean, I had Mickey in here, but Mickey just doesn't have the personality that Kermit does. And when you think of just the living, well, air quotes, embodiment of friendship, trust, loyalty, interspecies sexual relations, you go with Kermit.
Abused husbands.
Yes. So number 1, Kermit the Frog.
Yeah, Kermit doesn't deserve to get beat up. Honestly, I didn't think of that one. I didn't think of Kermit the Frog. So that's my bad. But I think my number one, while obviously he didn't make your list, I think hopefully you'll be okay with it. Because I think he's the embodiment of friendship and loyalty and just kind of warm relationships. And that's Winnie the Pooh.
Pooh is good. You're right.
Christopher Robin's, bear come to life. I mean, I've loved Winnie the Pooh since I was a kid, and I still do. And I dare you to read some of those quotes and some of his like simple aphorisms and expressions of affection without getting a little teary, or at least, hitting you down here.
That's that's a great one. In fact, he should probably be my number 2. I feel like I need to adjust my list. I can't believe what it was. I thought of Pooh, then I thought of Christopher Robin, the movie, and I thought, oh, that was a really good movie. I enjoyed that, but it's fine. But when you get into it, and like you say, all the witticisms, not witticism, but the philosophical statements in such a simply delivered manner, that Pooh is a great pick, and I think he would place either Mickey Paddington or Spider-Ham. So Pooh should be in there somewhere, but I'm a man of integrity. I won't call an audible on you right now. So
thank you. You're too good to me.
We both had good number ones.
We did. So good. The show continues, guys. This relationship is not over for another week, at least.
Goodness. For one more week. I give you 1 week extension. And we'll
Every
see
week.
What happens.
That's
Do you have
right.
any honorable mentions?
Yeah. So I really liked. I did throw in just probably recency bias, but I did throw in Duke Kaboom because he was fun. I liked Key and Peele as well, and Bunny and Ducky. I thought they were fun too. Pinocchio, just because I felt like I had to, the kind of quintessential toy. And I left him off because I wasn't sure if it counted, was Ralph. Is a video game character. I mean, he's already a guy, but he's a video game character, so I wasn't sure, but I threw him on there just because I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, same thing for me. I had him off because of that. I had the dolls from Brian Yuzna's 1987 horror film Dolls.
Okay.
I couldn't really pick one. It's kind of like a Puppet Master thing. Though you probably could pick a Puppet Master one. I had Emmett, like you said, Donkey, as you heard in the clip. Woody from Toy Story.
Woody, yep.
Ted I had, Rocket Raccoon, and then Caesar from the Planet of the Apes
good one.
Relaunch.
Yeah.
So who did we forget? Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. I'm sure there's something, like I dropped Pooh off my list for some reason. So I'm sure you folks out there got some. Let us know. Feedback@thefirstrun.com. Matt, next week, it's going to be the continuation of the Warren franchise, right? What is it, the Conjuring universe? So we're going back around again, and we're bringing the Warrens in on Annabelle. So Annabelle Comes Home. We'll have to see how this one shakes out. All the other ones have been pretty good.
I never saw the first Annabelle. I don't know if that was any good.
That's not good. But the 2 Conjuring films are solid. The second Annabelle film is good. What's the other one? Oh, what was the one we just did one? Well, yeah, the Ballad of La Llorona is not terribly good. And there was one before that, too, that was a stinker. The Nun. Oh, God, that was bad.
So we take it back. Half of them have been stinkers, and the other 3 have been solid. So we'll see where we're coming to it.
So we're 50-50. So we'll be talking about that next week, as well as The Love Witch, a film I've been dying to catch up with. Anna Biller's Love Witch. We'll be talking about both of those. In the meantime, you can follow us everywhere. Go to YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Do a search for The First Run. Scroll. Eventually, you will find us. Shoot us an email, as we said, at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Check us out at the website itself. And I guess that's going to be it, Matt. So why don't we go ahead, take an extended break. Man, a tight 40 minutes this week. You're welcome, everybody. Go ahead, take an extended break, and we will see y'all soon.
Kaboom.